Good afternoon, this is Rich Nelson with Allendale, covering the wrap-up commodity comments here. This is Tuesday. This is February 23rd, 2010. Of key excitement here today, obviously the outside markets were one issue, but certainly we can look at the grains being affected by the lower crude, which happened most this day. In terms of the grains, we saw the corn down about 4 cents, beans down 9.5, and wheat down 9.5 as well. So certainly some lower trade across the board for grains. This was a very exciting day, the fact that we did see extreme gains on these beans at one point, but yet we actually failed into the close. So what's this look like on the charts? Officially, all corn, soybeans, and wheat are still in moderate uptrends right now. They didn't break anything as far as any support levels on the charts. However, we did, like I said, did have an extreme rejection here on the soybeans. May imply a little lower trade here going into tomorrow morning's action here. In terms of reasons why, certainly for the corn, we didn't break that hard. We still have those wet weather concerns that the trade is still looking at. The fact that we are still planning on planting the second largest corn acreage coming up here this spring. So certainly this wet weather may be acting as a cushion to any downside moves here for corn. Over on the soybean side, you certainly can note that, yes, you do have this wet weather issue here, but we also have this South American crop, which, as the forecast kind of change off and on throughout the day, it still looks like, for the most part, we're going to be able to get by without having too much of a saturated issue here with this Argentine crop. So we do have some problems with that. With some areas of Argentina, certainly the eastern and southeastern areas, you can maybe argue that Brazil off and on may have maybe a little too much rain to impact its harvesting activity, but for the most part, the trade is certainly looking at this as being, the South America as being maybe a little negative issue here. We can balance that by saying, you know what, we still have good support coming from the fact that U.S. ending stocks are declining and will continue to decline here. So while today's break certainly was something important to watch, we cannot call this today be any type of major top here just yet. Over on the wheat side, we can note that wet weather, certainly the plains, with all this moisture that's there and still coming down in the next few weeks, certainly setting up a very good moisture situation for this winter wheat crop. So this is actually a bearish impact here for the wheat here we can speak of on the weather issue. In terms of other news, we did see examples of Bangladesh, who was tendering for some wheat, trying to buy some wheat, actually canceled that tender here, saying that prices were getting a little too high here for what they were willing to spend here. Over in the livestock, just want to point out here as far as that cold storage report we talked about yesterday, one of the key stats we'll be leading with on tonight's wrap-up comments for livestock, simple fact that we have combined stocks of chicken, beef, and pork actually down 12% compared to last year at this time now. So that certainly is an exciting stat. Over on the hog side, for the pork numbers, that was the drop on the total pork stocks, down 18%. So pork was leading the way in lower stock levels here. So certainly exciting there. As in terms of today's action, though, we did see lean hog futures drop about $1.05. One of the key issues we're still arguing about right now is, you know what, we have this market making these moves on perceptions that we will get this pork trade with Russia worked out. And at this point, you know what, we probably rallied about those last $2 based on that perception, but so far we don't have any deal coming out of this issue here. So we still have the problems of not shipping much pork over to Russia. Second issue is we still have this ban on U.S. poultry to Russia. Third issue is we still have the ban on higher tariffs on U.S. chicken going to China. So we have 3 issues here which have not been resolved, contrary to what the trade is hoping for. So that's maybe one reason we could speak of there why we're dropping here today. In terms of some other news on the hogs, we will note that Sanderson Farms, the 4th largest chicken producer and probably the best run of all the chicken companies, reported earnings here today for quarterly earnings. They've made money for four quarters in a row. Other good news, they are testing out a rinse right now, a new rinse in some plants to appease these Russians who say they have these problems with the way we rinse our chicken, the high concentrations of chlorine. So the good news is at least Sanderson, at least one of the companies, is trying to make some progress in getting a rinse that maybe Russia would like and would be able to appreciate. In terms of the cattle, down 80 cents today. Interesting to see on this end, all the fundamentals for cattle are actually still straight out bullish. In fact, as of this morning's midday beef report, up $1.44 for choice and up $2.41 for select. So all these numbers are bullish and exciting here for cattle. However, we did drop the futures by 80 cents on the April. Well, why is that? Key issue right now, trade happened here today on the cash cattle end for live prices at $92. That was even with last week. So we've had an extreme jump in cash cattle prices, and for the first time now in 3 weeks, I believe it is, we actually traded cash cattle steady. So maybe we're having some people saying, you know what, fundamentals are outright bullish. They're outstanding right now. However, we've probably gone a little too far, a little too fast, and maybe we've reached some levels which we're probably at the higher end of where we should be for probably the whole spring. So we got some people guessing that maybe this cash cattle run might be slowing down or might actually have a little pause here for a few weeks. Keep in mind that typically this market is a little strong going into mid-March before it typically peaks on the cash cattle end and goes straight down into summer here. As far as other news to speak of, two big things here at Allendale. Of course, we have these meetings we've been talking about. This is the time of the year when we do quite a few meetings in terms of action we have going on. We are wrapping up meetings here today. Looks like next week, I'm looking at my list right now, we have Storm Lake, Iowa, we have Esterville, Iowa, and in fact we have a separate meeting out Grand Island, Nebraska here all next week. So if you're anywhere near those areas, within an hour drive, 2-hour drive, it certainly would be worth your time to give us a call, get signed up for those meetings, and get the information you need to make your marketing decisions here for your farm operation for 2010. So once again, that was Storm Lake. We've also got Esterville, and the third one was Grand Island, Nebraska. So keep in mind, if you're anywhere near those locations, give us a call and get over those meetings. It certainly would be worth your time. Second big thing we have, of course, is this annual prospective planning survey. So while USDA does a survey of producers and they come out with results on May 30th on acres for this coming year, Allendale also does one as well. In fact, ours is probably one of the more extensive of the surveys that are done throughout the industry. In fact, most groups don't even do a survey. Most groups simply make a guess based on numbers or things like that. We do an extensive survey of all of our clients and all new potential people that we work with here, and this is a nationwide survey. So we hopefully will get some numbers which give us a pretty good guess at what USDA will be coming out with here on March 30th. That survey, farmers, is going on right now. In fact, it would go into the first week here of March. So we certainly encourage you guys to give us a call or take a look at our website. You can actually fill out a survey for us online. You don't even have to talk to anybody here. You can do that for us. Take a look at our front page, very top listing in the center section. And that website address, www.allendale, that's ALLENDALE -inc, so that's INC.com. If you have any questions regarding the survey, markets, or trading in general, give us a call here, 1-800-262-7538. This is Rich Nelson. Hope you have a good trading day and a good trading week.